We're back, and I'd like to introduce our next guest, who is a personal friend of mine. Werner is the founder of a thing called EST, which is Erhard Seminar Training. And it's an organization that began about 2 years ago in San Francisco and has taught or trained, I should say, about 600 people a month in 5 cities around the country. They have about 12,000 graduates, and I should mention that I'm a graduate of EST myself. And I found the time that I spent in this training seminar one of the most exciting and interesting experiences of my life. And I'm very excited to be able to have him here on the show, and it's with great pleasure that I introduce to you a very good friend of mine, Mr. Werner Erhard. Werner, where do you see, from your experience, see that people are at today?
John, for the most part, I think it's about that extra eighth of an inch. You know, the people that we've trained are, for the most part, getting the things they want out of life. They've gotten all the things, they've gotten the positions, their income is the kind of income they want, and yet they seem to go for the rest of it, that something that goes beyond the symbol to the experience of it, the meaning of it, rather than just the business of it. I think a good example of it is that most people, they go out to buy a new car and they expect to have a good experience. You know, a new car is a great experience. And they expect that when they have a new car, it's going to make them happy. And it does for about 3 days, and then the payments go on for a couple of years after that. And I think that what people are looking for now is the rest of it, you know, what goes on beyond the symbols. Because we don't seem to be able to get enough symbols quite.
I understand. Symbols, it seemed to me like things were going very well for me in my life, and yet there still were some things that I was looking for. Life wasn't complete, perhaps it still isn't, but since my participation experience with the training, there's a whole lot more to life to me. And there's a word that you use a great deal in the training that is aliveness. And I'd like you to tell people what aliveness is to you.
Well, essentially, it's that sense that all of us have, that thing that keeps us moving anyhow, the notion that there's something there beyond the business of it all, and we've broken it down to 4 words, or really 4 experiences. The first one is happiness, and it's not the thing that happens when you get a new car. It's, I guess, best epitomized by a guy walking down the street smiling about nothing. And as far as love is concerned, it's not that, you know, Plato called that a grave mental disease. And for the most part, if you listen to a lot of songs, it sounds like it may be a grave mental disease. And what we're talking about with love is that thing that allows you to be in touch with what's happening right now. So you're just experiencing what's going on right now, and it's all right just the way it is. It doesn't have to be any different right now. And yet you're open for it to change. And then as far as health is concerned, it's not so much passing the yearly physical. It's a body that gets up at the same time you do instead of 5 hours later. Someone mentioned about
George, yes,
Here I am. At any rate...
I'm watching over here on the tube.
Great. At any rate, this health that we're talking about is a body that gets up when you do, that doesn't need 5 cups of coffee, or doesn't need 3 martinis to come down at the end of the day, or doesn't need a joint to be high. A body that can experience all of those things when that's what's happening at the moment. And self-expression, that's the toughest one of all to describe, John. It's that thing that lets you know that people have experienced you. It's not so much I did it my way. It's that you've been experienced by other people. You've touched them and they've touched you. And that's how we break aliveness down.
I see. In speaking of aliveness and being in touch with yourself, how does that differ from what a lot of people think of as positive thinking and saying, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to feel good, whatever?
Yeah, the kind of thinking that we train people for is not positive thinking, but honest thinking. It's our notion that if you've got some negative thoughts and you butter them over with positive thoughts, then the negative thoughts express themselves unconsciously. And you find yourself so that, yeah, you've got the things you've been striving for in life, but the joy doesn't go with them. And so what we do in the training is to give people the opportunity to get in touch with the person that they're afraid they are, so that they can actually experience the person that they're afraid they are. And it's an amazing thing. When you experience the person you're afraid you are, you suddenly get beyond that to experience the person you really are.
I see. We'll return with our guest shortly, right after we pause for this commercial message. Thanks. We only have a short time left, Werner, and is there anything that we could do here so that people listening, watching, or people here in the audience could get a sense of what you're trying to say, something that they could try themselves, that they could do themselves to find out for themselves and experience for themselves the things you're talking about, of being in touch with yourself? And
Yes, John, as you know, we talk in the training about creating space for the things in your life that are kind of hitting on you and things that you'd like to resist, and you never demonstrate.
Yes, what do you mean by creating space? Can you explain that?
Yeah, Ken, I think the thing we can do best to give the viewers a sense of what I mean by that is to do a demonstration, and if you'll assist me, we can walk out
I'd
here
love
and
to.
do that.
Great. Right here, is this all right?
Yeah, that's great. I'm going to ask John to be the thing in life that would be hitting on me, and we'll just ask you to hit on me.
All right, great.
So, yeah, and do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be the thing that would be hitting on me, and there are a couple of responses. One of the responses is to avoid what's hitting on you. Another response is to get hit on and play the victim. And then you have another response, and John, I'd like you to really do it this time. And that is to create the space for it. Now, essentially, it looks like I'm walking away or moving away.
Maybe we could do that on this side. They can see better over here. No,
Okay, great.
That you're
Right.
here.
And essentially, all I'm doing is saying, okay, there's that thing there, and I'm going to make space for it. I'm going to accept that it's there. It's like the traffic jam tomorrow morning.
Yes.
If I can say, okay, there's a traffic jam there, I'm going to let it be there, instead of standing there resisting it, or instead of being the victim of it. Or if I can say, well, yeah, the boss is going to be that way tomorrow, or the people I work with are going to be that way tomorrow. And if I can just let them be that way, oftentimes the things that I felt like I had to resist kind of disappear.
Yeah.
And then you can even go a step further if you do that in a great big motion and move in close to what it is that you're resisting, or as a matter of fact, do one more time. If you just come and become the source of it, in other words, take full responsibility, it disappears altogether. And you notice there's no me over there anymore to get hit on. And it really works if you can just kind of take responsibility for what it is that you've been avoiding.
I can verify that. I wrote a song about it, as a matter of fact, and what Werner's talking about is taking responsibility for your life and to take responsibility for these things that hit on you. And it's amazing. Oh, it's amazing how it works, and it's just an exciting thing to me. Thank you for being here. We'll be back in a few minutes right after this station break. Thank you. It is amazing to me how fast the time spent here doing this show goes. It's such a pleasure being here, and I'd like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank our guests, George Maharis and Bill and Taffy Danoff, Bill Dana, Sherry Lewis, and Werner. I thank you very much for being here. And you folks have been just a wonderful audience, very supportive, and I appreciate that. I'd like to acknowledge you for that. I would like to invite you to watch this coming Wednesday night, the Bob Hope Show, which I'm a guest on, and I'm excited about that. Also, tomorrow night, Johnny will be back, and his guest will be Bob Hope, Diana Rigg, Roy Clark, and from the world champion Miami Dolphins, Larry Kasanka and Jim Kick. It's been a great, great pleasure for me to be here. I thank you, Freddie Cordova, and all the people at tonight's show for giving me this chance, and I hope we can do it again. Thank you very, very much. Good night, everybody.
This program was pre-recorded.